Hey, just finishing this claim to get Dave back on the road.
Nice. I wonder what Dave's doing.
You do your thing. We've got you covered.
Hey, is the power off on this?
I don't know. Just take it off.
Safety violation, unsafe work conditions.
In the construction trades unions, safety is our highest priority, and we train you to recognize and speak out on unsafe working conditions so that everyone arrives and goes home safely. Learn about careers in construction at georgiaconstructioncareers.com.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Keeping It Real with Najeh Wilkins, presented by georgiaconstructioncareers.com. So we got a lot in store to talk about today. Obviously, we'll talk about a little bit of football. We'll get into lacrosse. Our guest for today is going to be Roswell head coach Bryan Wallace. So talk a little about his program. Won back-to-back state championships this past year. So we'll get into a little bit with him in just a moment, and then we'll get into obviously my top 10 headlines for the weekend. Talking a little bit about NCAA. Obviously, cover coming out today. Obviously, some great players on the cover, and a little bit about the latest in recruiting as it starts to heat up. It is May, so as you guys know, May, June, July starts to heat up in football recruiting. So we'll talk about that, and then in the second segment, we'll talk a little bit about lacrosse. But without further ado, let's bring on Roswell's head coach.
How we doing?
Good, Coach. How's everything? Appreciate you coming on.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. So, Coach, I talked to you a couple months back, obviously, about the great accomplishment you had in your career, reaching that milestone of wins. Obviously, Ezra Moore has had a great career at Roswell with the Hornets, along with yourself. So, just kind of put a bow on it. How cool was it to kind of win back-to-back state championships and accomplish so much in the season?
Yeah, I mean, great feat. Extremely hard to do. Obviously, you got a target on your back after you win one, and everybody's coming after you with their best game and their best opportunity every time out. It's everybody's Super Bowl when we play, just a regular game for a lot of people. So, our attention to detail, our focus, our senior class is phenomenal. We had some young guys step up early on in the season, and our guys never seemed really scared of the moment. We had a great start. Got to about 200 wins and had a little blip on the radar there for a little bit, and then picked it back up going to North Carolina. I think going 4-0 against some of the out-of-state teams. We played definitely by far the best competition and prepped ourselves for a really good opportunity to come back after spring break and get hot in May and try to win another championship, and we definitely succeeded and completed our goal.
Yes, you did, Coach. And then speaking of, I just want to revisit real quick the game, obviously a state championship game against Centennial. So you guys had a 9-7 lead in that game. Kind of back and forth a little bit to start, but then you guys pulled away in the second half. So just talk about what was that message to your group, obviously at halftime to allow them to be able to pull away and really show that championship medal.
Yeah, obviously a familiar opponent. Know the coaching staff well, know a couple of their players pretty well, and it's hard to beat a good team twice. And we learned that as well against Isla Tuna earlier in the playoffs. And halftime was about adjustments, about figuring some things out. We got an early lead, and Centennial went into a zone, so we needed to kind of make some adjustments. And to be honest, you got a bunch of guys who are out there, alpha males, just trying to score a bunch of goals and play fast and score as many goals as they can in the state championship. And we just needed to kind of take our foot off the gas for a second, kind of work it out as a team, find some of the weaker spots in the zone and kind of let our possession do the work, right? We got two great face-off guys, and we kind of dominated the face-off X all day. So we knew if we had possession that we had to make them work. And the opportunity, that they presented early was man-to-man and then kind of came into a zone. So, that 2-goal lead kind of happened because we were kind of figuring some things out. They were figuring things out. And then, adjustments, like you said, at halftime, kind of flipped the switch a little bit, had to make them come get us, knew that they have to set in the zone, that they probably weren't going to, make a lead or kind of come back. So we just take each possession for what it was worth and try to get the best shot that we could out of it and kind of slowed down some of the scoring, but had some opportunity to pick some things up with some penalties and kind of go back on a run and finish them off.
No doubt. And Coach, obviously, I'm still very new to lacrosse, but I want to ask you, when a team does run a zone, without revealing too many of your secrets, What are some key things you have to do in order to beat a zone when the team kind of switches to that? What are some key areas that you should kind of try to penetrate so you're able to score and get past that?
Yeah, I mean, some zones present different challenges depending on where guys use them or kind of, where they're trying to protect or not give up shots from. And ideally, the zone is kind of the pack it in move, right? Not sliding without sliding. Kind of everyone's got everybody's back. No one's really playing a man. So trying to work on, the low and weak corners is what we saw out of this particular zone that we could kind of take advantage of. And if we, got the ball up the side quick enough and kind of threw back and cut back through the zone, that we would have some opportunities to get to some easy soft spots in the zone in terms of shooting spots and or from attacking underneath, taking advantage of their short sticks kind of underneath on the zone side. With some of our more stronger athletic guys, but at the same time ball movement and just being patient, trying to get guys to bite in terms of selling where we might be, but trying to continue to move the ball. It's really hard to dodge against the zone, so it's very pass oriented offense. So quick ball movement with a plan, trying to get to a spot where those guys kind of run out of spots on the defensive end, and for us trying to find those soft zones and take good shots.
No doubt. And then, Coach, I want to ask you, obviously you just talked about them, but Alatoona, right? You guys played in the state championship last year. It's been such a great matchup between you guys. I thought, you guys were on a collision course probably for another, state championship bout if, they were on the same bracket as you guys. But what's just made that matchup, maybe that brewing rivalry between you guys so special?
It's a great group of guys over there. They got very, very same population as we do over at Roswell. We got dual sport athletes, got some kids that play a lot of club, guys that are well coached, and kids that like to get after it. And they've got a strong 25 class. They had a pretty strong class last year. Their run of opportunity definitely comes ebb and flow, much like ours, right? We won a state championship last year, but 10 years ago is a decade ago that we went back to back. So it's kind of strange that, things kind of happen ebb and flow, but Alatoona's had a really good program. They sent some kids to some Division I programs. And when you got some elite players, usually your teams are pretty good. And, the battle with those guys has definitely gone the way of the Hornet the last 7 times that we played. So, they are good competition, but I'm not sad to see them go to 4A next year. So
you feeling pretty good about that, huh, Coach?
Yeah.
No doubt. And then, Coach, I want to ask you, too, a little bit about so obviously me and you talked, on the phone, but I want the audience to kind of hear, just talk about the impact that your other coach and the relationship that you told me before between you and other head coach Brian Michalak. This him running the offense, you run the defense. Just talk a little bit about that and how it's helped you guys to get where you are today.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you one thing. Wherever we go, his name gets butchered. It's Mahalik. I know it's weird. It's different. But Brian is we're 2 peas in a pod, right? He's the defensive mind. I'm the offensive mind. He's the in-school guy. I'm the out-of-school guy. And, to run a big public school program, it takes more than one person. So huge credit to our coaching staff, all the community guys that are involved. But Brian really, in terms of helping bring our culture together, and guy being in the school that the kids can trust, the kids can get behind, someone that has their back, that gives our kids a lot of confidence in terms of what's going on. And he's from Long Island, so lacrosse is in his blood. We have the same kind of understanding of what we want to get done and what we want to accomplish and how we want to grow our players and prepare them not only for high school but life after, if that's playing at college or just college level. And I think the group of guys that we have, this senior class, speaks to a lot of what that is. We've got a lot of unique guys, a lot of guys that are going to do great things. And yes, they went 41-5 in the last 2 years, but I can't wait to see them at our 10-year reunion and see how great they're doing, because they're all going to be, head and heels way beyond what's going on just on a lacrosse field. So the opportunity to share the time with him, spend the time, working in our youth program together, growing this thing, being responsible for both sides of the ball, and having a really good understanding of, teaching and loving the passion of the game, enjoying being around our guys as coaches, but couldn't do this without him. He's a huge reason why we are who we are, because, the defensive side of the ball has been locked down for the last 2 years. I mean, losing 5 games and 46 contests speaks a lot to the credit of what he's done with our defense.
No doubt. And speaking of, obviously, you've been talking about that senior class, so I know about a lot of them, but just tell us about those guys that came into work every day. And you say you can't wait to see what they do on and off the field, but just tell us about some of those guys and kind of what's their next steps as they go on and as they graduate, and I believe in another week.
Yeah, it's crazy how fast it goes. every year, I tell the senior class it's January, 15th. It's the first day of tryouts, and I said, hey man, you're gonna snap your fingers, and it's gonna be spring break, and you wake up and the state championship's gonna be here, and you're gonna be gone. And they're like, no way, coach. And we had a really good opportunity. We do a really nice sentimental senior kind of tradition where I kind of host everybody, and we got opportunity to kind of share some opportunities with those guys. It's a special group, like I said. Great senior group, great captain group. We got guys going to Georgia Tech. We got guys going to play Division 1, 2, 3 lacrosse. We got guys going to play club. We got guys going all over the place. And, the uniqueness and the brand of what they bring, you got Ezra Moore, who's an absolute bull, right? He's a 90-goal scorer, 200-point club in Roswell history, which is, pretty outstanding. He's going to go and play Division 1 lacrosse. Austin Edler, another one of our senior attackmen, second team All-State guy. He's going to Georgia Tech. He's going to play club, and Georgia Tech club is like top 5 in the country. So it's like he's not just going to play club. He's going to play at one of the best club programs in the entire country. Luke Hicks, another senior, going to play at Salisbury, who's a traditional powerhouse in Division 3. He'd probably get 4 or 5 more rings just being at Salisbury and contributing there as a Seagull. So it'd be great to see what he does there. We got guys going to Auburn, guys going all over the place, and it's just really special. 2 goalies. 2 senior goalies that really brought us together. Great for each other, best of friends. One's going to Lynchburg, one's going to Rhodes. Those guys might see each other on the college fields. It's pretty wild to see, where they're all going to be. But, they've been through ups and downs, right? They started as freshmen in the 2020 COVID year and had, a weird scenario kind of start. But, the culture that these guys have helped us bring and solidify this new standard is something that I've never been around. This group of guys is unique. It's a group of guys who's, they're best friends. They bring the best out in each other. They're accountable for each other. Kyle O'Neill and Carter Dowdy are 2 guys that are going to go room together at Lenore Ryan, who's the Division II reigning national champion. So, I'm glad that we got them some rings, but I think there's a lot more rings in their future in terms of what all these guys are going to do, and I can't wait to see what that looks like for them.
No doubt, Coach. And obviously we talked about them, and I appreciate you sharing about all those guys, and very special for your program. And I want to ask you just who were some of those young guys? 'Cause I know you mentioned that too, that stepped up for you this year. Who were some of those guys that obviously you'll be bringing back? We'll talk about that in a second. But who was those young guys that stepped up big this year for you?
Yeah, we had 3 freshmen make the varsity team, which, was outstanding. 2 of those guys got some pretty good recognition being all-state players. Face-off guy by the name of Blake O'Neill, who's Kyle's little brother, is a freshman, right? So he's been around the program for a few years. He's a dog. He's got big things in his future. Lincoln Miller is another freshman who, in the opening game of the year against Lambert, when we were not sure who our starting attack was going to be, about 48 hours before the game, had 5 goals, had an around-the-world highlight goal that went pretty viral, who was excellent for us. Our sophomore class has been outstanding. Those are the guys that we're going to be relying on real soon. And then another guy, Harry Penn, who's became our 3rd defenseman, lockdown guy, who really solidified what we were doing on the defensive side of the ball. So those 3 freshmen definitely stand out. With junior Ben Weir, who leaps and bounds. Huge year for him, 40-goal scorer. So sophomore Caden Parlow is a guy that played a little bit of midfield, a little bit of attack for us. When Luke Hicks got hurt in the middle of the season, ended up with 40-plus goals as a lefty attackman. Will be returning next year as a rising junior, and so he was he was a freshman last year, so he's got 2 rings. So he's gunning for 4. So we got a lot of good guys coming back.
No doubt. And then, Coach, if you had to say what's been kind of your favorite moment from this season? I mean, obviously you guys have went to North Carolina. You've played some of the best here in the state. What's been kind of your favorite moment with your group this past year?
I think the last 15 minutes of being in the locker room together after the state championship. The goal is to play as long as you can. We had an opportunity to play the first game of the year and the last game of the year. So we had every day possible to be with these guys. Emotional group, going to miss them a lot, but started getting choked up here. But that's what it means. Just that opportunity to spend some more time with those guys. And, going back to back is really special. And, that's about it. Just, we got our banquet tonight, so I'm sure there'll be a lot more tears coming in terms of tears of joy. But these guys deserve every opportunity, and so proud of them.
Yes, sir. I can certainly see that in your voice, Coach, and I know this group means a lot to you. And speaking of, I want to get back to a point you kind of hit on a little bit, and we obviously went into detail about, and that's you building this program. And that was one detail when I talked to you a couple months ago that stood out to me. But I want you to share that, just the feeder program that you've built at Roswell. It's something very special. So just talk a little about that, building that with obviously your other coach, Coach Bryan, and just talk a little bit about that.
Yep. Well, there's a lot of programs that seem to be kind of running out of players, or don't really have a strong pipeline. And when you look through the history of the programs that have constantly won at any sport, especially at the high school level, is that you need a feeder program. You need youth. You need young guys that are excited about what's going on. And the opportunity for us to take our high school guys who are successful, that are going on to the next level, and make them local heroes in our youth program, so that these kids are looking up to guys. I mean, after the state championship, we had 30 to 40 youth kids asking for autographs on jerseys, right? From amateur high school kids that are, going to college or just won a state championship. So I think, the hunger to be really good at lacrosse in Roswell is something really special. And there's a standard that's kind of been set, and these kids look up to these guys. So they understand what it kind of takes. And I think there's, a lot of angst to want to be those guys when they get a little bit older. So our youth program has been thriving ever since, I got here in 2021. The numbers are kind of through the roof, and kids are buying in. And, the more opportunity that we can provide guys, the bigger program we can get, the more recognition, and hopefully the more championships, right? We got to feed the legs, feed the wolf, right? And at the end of the day, these little guys are out there, and we're working, and we're getting out there with them, and we want them to have that same success and learn, all the same life traits that these guys have. Be good character guys and be proud to wear the R on your chest when you get to the high school. It's an honor to play for a state championship team, and I think those guys are starting to recognize that their hard work is starting to pay off, and when they get to the high school, it is really special, and great things can happen.
No doubt about it. And then, Coach, I want to ask you, what are your thoughts on the reclassification? Obviously, I think it'll go back to that format we had, a few years ago, Class A through 4A, 5A, 6A. Just what's your thoughts on that heading into next season with your group?
It's a very different dynamic. It seems like some of the, more traditional schools that we've been playing are shrinking in size for whatever reason. I know it's, based on student attendance and what's going on. But I think, as a whole, I wish that GHSA would let lacrosse do its own type of ranking and seeding and make sense of what the top and the bottom end of the lacrosse programs are in all classifications. But for next year, in terms of what we have to do and who we have to play, we're going to be in 5A. Our region is definitely changing, but we've got some traditional, stronger teams in there in terms of Lassiter and Pope and Milton and Creekview and Sequoia and Woodstock are some of the oncoming teams. Woodward's in there. It's going to be a new layout, a new dynamic in terms of what's going on. Our region is smaller, which allows us to hunt down some more teams in terms of being a little bit better competitively, maybe some more out-of-state opportunities, to challenge our guys so that when May comes, we're playing our best ball and we've seen anybody and everybody that we can see. So our goal will be to play, those top 7-8 teams in 5A to get an understanding for what the state championship, Final Four opportunity could look like in terms of who we need to play and who we need to prep for, and then, go and challenge ourselves wherever else we can, and looking forward to getting back to Final Four weekend.
Yes, sir. Well, two more, Coach. I'll let you go. What's kind of next? Obviously, I know you are a club coach as well, but what's next for this program? Kind of how does the offseason look for obviously Roswell, and then obviously for, potentially the club team? How does that kind of go? Do a lot of your guys play club as well? How does that go for you guys?
Yeah, so we got a large percentage of guys that will play club. We've got, like I mentioned, our end-of-season banquet tonight, and then next week we'll do player exit interviews with all of our underclassmen, and then we'll get a scrimmage with Lambert, and we'll have 5 or 6 practices, and we go to an event in Baltimore called the NHSLS. It's a National High School Lacrosse program. It's top programs in the country. So the top ranked teams in the country, the Lawrencevilles and the private schools, the best schools from Maryland, we go up there and we take our rising group. So our rising 8th grade group, that'll be 9th graders, plus our returning varsity team. We've been doing that for the last 3 years now. So we play in a tournament with, the top 2, 3, 5, 7. I mean, whoever we draw, we play 3 or 5 games over the weekend. And then we come home. Kids kind of get off and do their thing for the summer. A lot of guys playing club. We'll get together, a couple times during the summer and have, some introductory opportunities just to bring the freshmen into the mix a little bit, maybe do some neighborhood clinic stuff, get maybe a late clinic going for the youth. And then as we get into the fall season, we'll get back with our strength and conditioning coach, Coach Raleigh, who's been with us the last 2 years, who's helped really build us in the off season and help fortify our culture. So we'll be getting into the fall program, and we'll practice, and then we'll play in a tournament down in December in Orlando, which is a really highly competitive program of teams that are vying for the state championship in Florida. We played St. Andrews and Lake Mary and Bowles and all those guys last year, and they're all the front runners in Florida. So really good opportunity to test ourselves for the upcoming season, and then get rolling in January. So it's kind of full season, right? A little bit of downtime here and there. Personally, I'll be, club started Monday, so it was a one day break off of Sunday and right into club season. So hitting it hard, getting ready to go. But we got 3 weeks here before we get traveling, and I'll be gone, pretty much every weekend in June into early July, and then come late July, I'll get some downtime, much needed family time.
No doubt. And then real quick, when is that tournament, that NHLS one you're talking about in the summer?
So that is June 20 and 21st in Baltimore, Maryland.
June 20 and 21st in Baltimore. Got you. And last one, I'll let you go. Obviously, you'll be traveling team. You get a little bit downtime in July. Are there any? You've been doing this a long time. Are there any big differences in your eyes between club and maybe high school lacrosse, or is it about the same? What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, a lot of variations, right? Club is the opportunity to kind of select some of the best players and travel all over. And, the goal is to kind of get recruited, where I think, the high school game is obviously about being much more part of a team, right? You're together 5-6 days a week for 4.5 months, understanding what your characteristics are within your team dynamic, being as helpful as you can. Obviously, being in a club program means that you're pursuing, most likely a college opportunity, and you want to be the best player you can be, best student you can be. But the dynamic there is that you've got, 10 all-state kids playing, or 15 all-state kids playing on the same team, where in high school you got maybe 2 all-state guys and then, whatever. So the playing field is definitely a little bit different. There's a lot more parity in the high school game. Obviously, some of those teams that are loaded that have better guys tend to have success. But, the loaded club teams with all these guys, playing against the best players in the country. Being part of NLF, the club that we run at Thunder, you're seeing the top 10 guys in the country that you read about every week in USA Magazine. We're just happy that our name even gets populated within that rank. So it's pretty exciting.
No doubt. Well, Coach, I want to say thank you so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure talking to you this season, and obviously so happy for your program and for just seeing Roswell be able to win it all and do it back-to-back. And obviously you guys are top tier now here in the state. You guys are one of the premier programs. I think you guys are as high as top 3, I believe, now in most state championships in GHSA history. So congrats on that, and wish you nothing but success and good luck in the future.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you having me. And, see you soon.
Yes, sir. See you soon. All right. There goes Coach Wallace. Appreciate him coming on to the program. Just talk a little bit about his team. Again, great run. Second half pulled away, 9-7 game. And then before you knew it, you blinked and they were up and took full control of the game. So, obviously, great players. Kyle O'Neill, as he mentioned, Ezra Moore, great senior class, and he's going to have some really talented guys coming back again. Ben Ware, obviously some of his freshmen that stepped up big. So, it was major for the program. So, love to see that. But that's all we got for this segment. We'll take a quick short break. Thank our sponsors. Be back on the other side.
What you doing?
Hey, just finishing this claim to get Dave back on the road.
Nice. I wonder what Dave's doing.
You do your thing. We've got you covered.
Hey, is the power off on this?
I don't know. Just take it off.
Safety violation, unsafe work conditions.
In the construction trades unions, safety is our highest priority, and we train you to recognize and speak out on unsafe working conditions so that everyone arrives and goes home safely. Learn about careers in construction at GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com.
All right, guys, welcome back. So before we start, obviously, this segment is going to be our film breakdowns for this week. A couple players to talk about is Harrison, running back, T.C. Washington, and then we'll also talk about Morrow's quarterback, Kai Mitchell. So we're going to talk about those two in just a second. But I do want to give a little bit of highlight to Ethan Hauser, obviously from Buford. He's been blowing up in recruiting. It's so cool because I remember talking to him, and he only had, I think it was one offer. Obviously, he's class of 27, so he's young, only going to be entering just his sophomore season. But I just remember writing an article on him, and I said, well, this is one to watch. Obviously, he's going to be on campus. He's going to be visiting Georgia Tech. But this is a player that, balled out, in middle school ball, had a lot of people on him, and showed what he could really do. And then it was so cool seeing that next day he leaves with a Georgia Tech offer. And since then, it has been up for Ethan. He has been absolutely just, picking up the offers. He recently, all this week, has been picking up a bunch of them. He picked up Auburn, obviously, in April. That was a major one. He ended up visiting campus, a couple of days later for that weekend. He recently just picked up Alabama. That's a major offer for him as well. That was May 6th. So that's, another major one. Then he picked up Florida, another one in the same night. Also picked up Maryland. That was another major offer for him. And then recently, West Virginia. And then last but not least, obviously, after visiting Auburn a couple times, picking up Auburn. So special shout out to him, man. That's super cool to see. Obviously, Buford is always very talented at their skill position groups, whether that's receiver, DB, safety, running back. They're always really, really, really talented. Get some of the best in Gwinnett to come play. So just want to give him a shout out on the show. I thought that was cool to see him kind of blowing up, and obviously he's a very humble kid. I talked to him multiple times, and it's just cool to see that kind of come to fruition. Still young, and still has probably about 3 years of varsity to play, and I can't wait to see what role he carves out this year for Buford. What will it be? Because, like I said, in Gwinnett football, or just in football in general, up here in Metro Atlanta, you usually, if you're on the right path and you're doing your thing in practice, you usually can play pretty early, and you're very talented. Usually pick it up pretty early, like I said. So can't wait to see what he does this year. Obviously, he has my attention, so we will be paying close note to that. But that's what I got on the latest on the recruiting news. Special shout out to you, Ethan. We'll keep rolling. Obviously, our first one is going to be TC Washington. That is from Harrison. So appreciate the DM as well. A couple people hit me up to do this film breakdown. Quick notes on him. I think he is very physical. I think he has a good balance. I would just say, obviously a couple things on the highlights we'll talk about. It takes a lot to bring him down. But a couple things I think can help him out, especially when he sends his film to coaches. But without further ado, let's roll the tape. All right, so as you can see right here, and if you guys don't know, if you're not tuned into the drive for GHSA state title, Craig actually had their head coach on, I think it was a few weeks or about a month or so ago, their head coach, Luke Misalem. So this is their running back. Let's look. All right, so nice motion here, as you can see. Downhill, gets to the second level. Right there, big time gain over 20+ yards. Good run, good effort, good blocking. And the same thing right here, like how he gets to the second level, breaks multiple tackles. A nice about 15-20 yard gain again, so does a really good job with that. Same thing here, waiting for his blocks, breaks the first tackle, second one, and then just gets to the next gear. So like that right there. And obviously I broke it down, so not much there in the initial hole, as you guys can see. So you get the motion from 10. So he goes to the left side, so he hits the hole that he's supposed to hit. Then he waits, sees, okay, there's nothing really there, and then he uses that cutback lane that's starting to open up right there. So breaks that tackle, and then boom, right there, it opens, breaks that other tackle, and then go ahead and gets to the second level of the defense. So something you like to see right there, and turns that into a big gain. Not much there, but turns into a good 15-20 yard gain. So love to see things like that. And then right here in the hole, gets to the second level, breaks multiple tackles right there before getting dragged down. And then right here, just breaking multiple tackles, getting to the second level. Same thing right here, making that defender miss, turning that into a nice 8-9 yard gain right there. And then here, plays against North Cobb, gets to the outside. Good job, just squaring shoulders right there, coming downhill. And then right here, makes the defender miss in the hole. Nice 6-7 yard gain right there. And then boom, good cut right there, making him miss. inside the hole, as you guys can see one more time. Boom. Makes the linebacker miss right there. Nice 6-7 yard gain. Love to see that. And then boom, he is right here. Good, nice 5-yard gain. Getting a tough yardage. Getting in between the tackles right there. Breaking a couple initial tackles. Another good game right there. Good first down. All right, so look at this one right here. Nice gain. You know, not much there, but good job getting a couple yards. You see him right there. Just keeping balance, maintaining your feet. Then right here, just, you know, good job right there. Lowering the shoulder, getting the extra yardage. Not much there, but good job getting the first down on the play. And here he is, well blocked right here to the left. So this one right here is the one I want to break down. Let me have you go back, Craig, right there to that one. Okay, so this one, like, college coaches probably not going to love it so much. The only reason I point this one out, they're going to want to see you lower your shoulder, right? So look as he gets to the outside right here. So good blocked up, boom. Pause it right there. So obviously you're going to have multiple defenders come down, right? You got a safety that's coming down. You got 3 guys in pursuit. What coaches are going to want to see is they're going to want to see you go and attack that safety, put your shoulder down, and continue to attack. Now, again, I'm not coming for his game, but look at him kind of like lay off the gas, pedal a little bit, go out of bounds. I get it. Obviously, running back, you take a lot of hits, but coaches are going to want to see you lower that shoulder, hit that boom, run him over, and continue to run. See, he kind of scampers out of bounds. Like, plays like that, you know, coaches are not going to be big fans of. But right here, love this. You know, gets there in the red zone, big red zone threat, hard to tackle. Probably one of his best parts of his game in the red zone. Hitting the hole hard, getting in there, showing a little bit of the physicality. And then right here, multiple defenders, comes and hits him right there. It doesn't matter. Takes on the contact. And that's what they want to see. You take on the contact, you keep driving, and you get the touchdown. Same thing here. Using that physicality, that balance, getting deep into the field. Same thing here. Good job lowering the shoulder, right? That's what coaches are going to want to see. Good 4 to 5 yard gain. Again, right up there in the middle. Another one here against McEachern right here. Nice, good 3-4 yard gain for a first down. So that helps. So that's my thoughts. Again, I don't want to be overly critical, but when you do the huddle tapes, obviously, so I think the 3-4 yard gains, you know, definitely helps. But you want to show, obviously, coaches are going to look for the full game, right? So definitely show, like, those first couple ones you have, right? Those 15, 20-plus yard gains. Have a couple of those sprinkled in there, maybe like the 2-3 yarders if you're carrying multiple defenders. But I know from, you know, just talking with coaches, I'm not saying I'm an expert, but I just know from talking with coaches, they want to see, you know, highlights. They want to see you running over guys. They want to see you getting to that second level, which is what he's doing. But those short clips like that, the 2-3 yards, unless it's like you breaking multiple tackles or you going from one sideline to the other and made multiple defenders miss, you know, that would do better kind of in your favor, I think. But obviously he's young, so I'm not going to be overly critical. He's only a sophomore, so he has, you know, rooms to grow. He's going to be a rising junior, so he has nothing but time to grow. But all I would say is use your physicality more. You have great physicality. Continue to work on that burst and that first step so you can get to that second level quicker. And then third, just don't be afraid to hit to lower that shoulder, man. Obviously physical. A lot of people are not going to want to tackle you. So continue to do that, and I think he has a pretty good game. And just continue to do your thing. That's my thoughts on TC Washington. Can't wait to see what he does. Next year, obviously, we'll have a new head coach, so I'm sure they're going to use him in a plethora of ways on the offensive end. But
their head coach beat Kennesaw Mountain last year without attempting a pass.
Great point by Craig. So their head coach beat Kennesaw Mountain, as he just said, without completing a pass. So that goes to show you a lot. So obviously, I think with him coming in, he's going to run the ball a lot. He's going to get you your touches. So he's not really a pass-oriented guy. So I think that definitely goes in your favor. So can't wait to see your growth and progression, and appreciate you sending the film in as well. All right, so we're well to our next one. Appreciate Craig actually pointing that out as well. And the next one is going to be Kai Mitchell, young guy, 2027. Other one we talked about was 2026, so actually maybe a rising junior, but this would be a rising sophomore. So let's roll it. All right, so here's tape right here. So I think I had slow mode this one. So I love his ability right here to just be able to make something out of nothing. You guys are going to see that a lot. So here comes the pressure. You know, boom, makes the defender miss. And then look at him turn nothing into something. A nice first down gain. I mean, pressure's all on him. Still turns into a nice game. Right here, good pump. Goes to his progression. Gets to the right side of the field. Look at this dot right here. Boom. Love to see that right there. Good throw off the run. Creating something out of nothing. Then right here, he's moving to the left. Then boom, there's no hesitation, right? Okay, I know there's nothing there. I'm going to use my dual threat ability. Make that defender miss. I mean, that's a crazy clip right there. Make him fall and turn that into a big gain. And then boom, here's right here. 1, 2, 3. Knows his read. Nice throw to the back shoulder for a good first down right there. And then boom, here's the read option. And then boom, you see the dynamic ability. Turn it into a nice gain yet again. And boom, here is moving to the right, Boom, looking to square up. Decent throw right there for a nice touchdown throw right there. And boom, we got a little bit of a QB draw. And then here he is, just creating nothing there. Turn it into a nice 20-plus yard gain. Love to see that right there. And boom, look at him go through his progression, move to the right, still looking downfield, and look at his dot to the sideline. Love that right there. So that's the full kind of gamut of things. Look to his left, nothing there. Scans the other side of the field, throws a nice dot off the run. And then boom, right here, nothing there, makes the defender miss. And look at his true speed. Turning that. I mean, that should not be that. Roll that one more time for me, Craig, if you don't mind. So, back to the beginning. Okay, so obviously you see so many in the backfield. So obviously this is going to be a run play. So it's really going to look like it's designed to the right, right? Defense blows it up. Look how many guys are in the backfield. 1, 2, 3, 4 guys, right? So again, this play should be a negative. He turns this into a positive of nothing to something. Makes the defender miss, gets to the outside. Nice block right there from his tackle, and turns it to a 15-plus yard gain. That is not easy to do. And then right here, moving to the right. Good throw off the run. Hits his receiver. Nice gain right there from the receiver. And then right here, nice ball on the outside. Only where his receiver can get it. Good throw, good back shoulder right there. And then boom, here he is. Nice slant route. Gets it out quick. Lets his receiver catch it, come up under it, make a play on the ball. And boom, here he is going through his progressions. Not sped up. Okay, boom. Now I'm going to make my move. Completely makes that defender miss. Turns into a nice gain yet again. So, love that. Boom. I mean, he's touching air. Absolutely touching air right there. So, here he is. Boom. Look at the cutting inside. Defender stands no chance. Nice run right there. Turning nothing into something. And boom, here we go. We got a motion. And boom. So, this is the one I slowed down. So, you have to actually look at this play. So, I like this a lot. So, right here, he based this slot corner right here. And I'm going to have you pause it right there. So, boom. Does a good job. So, he knows where he's going. But if the ball is too far on the inside, that's a pick six, right? So, throws it only where his receiver can get it. He sees where the slot corner is. Fools him, right, into thinking he's going to throw over there, which would have been a pick six. But throws it farther inside, only where the receiver can get it. Watch the throw. Boom. Baits him. Because you see the corner's there. He's looking, oh, I got a pick six. Good job right there, baiting that slot corner and throwing it on the inside. And then right here, step up in the pocket. Nice throw over the middle. Good dot right there, right before the safety can get there. Another read option makes the edge miss. Boom. Make him touch air. Turn into a nice 5-yard gain right there. And here's again, 1, 2. Nothing there. Okay, let me make a move on my legs. Get some positive yardage. Nice 5-6 yard gain. Same thing, go to his progressions. Look left, look right. All right, let me use my legs. Boom, look at that. Oh, my goodness. I'm going to have Craig roll out again. I mean, that was just nasty work. I mean, his footwork is great. His cutting is great. Look at this move he puts on the defender. I mean, that is excellent right there. One last time. Boom, look at put his foot in the ground. Boom. I mean, completely touching air. I mean, that's what you want to see. So, that dynamic ability at quarterback is next level. Boom, here you go. Got a motion. And then, boom, look at this dot. Oh, my gosh. One more time, y'all. One more time. I got to see this. So, I can't wait to see where his mechanics is and where that's going to be next year. Because, I mean, if he's throwing throws like this is going to make him the next level. So, watch this. Boom. Pause it, Craig. So, again, not a big window right there. Obviously, you see the instant. But, again, he has to throw this, pretty good. If it's too far inside, that's a PBU or a possible interception, but just those are only where the receiver can get it. Look at this ball placement. Boom. Look at that. Look at where the defender's head is. Look where the ball is going. Oh, my. I mean, that's pinpoint. That is one of his best throws I've seen on this tape. So, if I was you, Kai, I would put that as my first throw. That is excellent. Obviously, we see the other things a part of your film, the dual threat ability, the ability to escape, the ability to create nothing out of something relentlessly time and time again, making defenders miss, the speed that you have on the field. But that throw, oh, man, that throw was just special, man. So, definitely if I was you and I could change my film around, I would put that throw first because it's in the red zone, tight window, and you threw it only where the receiver could get it in a nice spot on the field. One of your best throws I think I've seen on the film. So that's my thoughts on Kai Mitchell. I think he has great potential. He's very young, so he's only going to get better. He's going to fine-tune everything, sharpen up some things. Obviously, some of the throws that were good, but only thing I would say, my only critique, lead those receivers in stride. That's it. When you throw those deep balls or you've got a wheel route or a receiver's going, just lead them in stride. That's my only critique. The dual threat ability is great. The running ability is great. The ability to create nothing, the ability to improvise. Check off all those, man. So, solid film. Don't have many critiques, man, and I appreciate you sending that in. But we'll leave that there. That is the latest on all of the film breakdowns. We'll talk real quick about basketball. So, obviously, some major camps going on. As you guys know, Rome announced their new head coach recently, and they just announced their summer schedule, and that is going to start June 6th at Lakeview Academy for Rome. June 7th, they'll be at Buford. June 8th, they'll be at Berry College team camp. June 10th, they'll be at Cartersville. June 15th, they'll be at Southern Hoops Report Shootout. June 20th, they'll be at Relentless Hoops Summer League. June 24th, Dalton. June 28th, GBCA Southeast Regional Live Period event. And June 29th, the same event as well. So on those two. So that's how their schedule looks. A couple more will be Lambert. We know how good their basketball team usually is. So they announced their summer travel schedule. They'll be at UGA on June 8th, KSU on June 9th, Wolford June 12th, UNG June 19th, and then GBCA Live June 21st through June 23rd, and then GBCA SE Regional June 28th through the 30th as well. So that's the latest on their schedule. I think there was one more that I seen as far as the schedules as well. Okay, here we go. Yep. So this one right here, it was Ware County. So we like their basketball group. They got a bunch of good players, man. Bunch of D1 prospects on the roster. Fortunate end to the season last year, but really, really good team. But they're going to start June 4th at Coastal, Georgia. That'll be their first stop before going to a Kennesaw State camp, team camp, June 8th through the 9th. June 13th through the 14th, they'll be at Wofford College. And then they'll be at Southern Hoop Showcase June 15th. Then June 18th, Vidalia High. June 21st to 23rd, GBCA Scholastica Live Period. June 25th, Charlton High. And last but not least, GBCA Southeastern Regional Live Period on June 28th through the 30th. So that's the latest. Those are coming out now. Those are the live periods for these teams. Again, great time for them to get exposure, build camaraderie, build cohesion, along with some of their probably future teammates as well, and good chance to get in front of a whole bunch of exposure and get in front of college coaches and things like that and put themselves out there. So that is the summer schedule, as you guys know. It's kind of interesting with basketball. A little bit runs, obviously, with AAU. You have the major events, the Nike EYBL. Obviously, you have the 3SSB circuit. You have the Under Armour. You have the Puma basketball. And then you also have teams that run with each other and go to these different camps. Similar to football, you'll see colleges have a bunch of different camps in the summer. It's no different. Basketball does kind of the same thing. So that's the latest there. Those are the latest camps that will be happening. All right, so real quick before we take our next break, we'll talk about lacrosse just real quick about some of the state championships. So Wesleyan ended up sweeping both the boys and girls side. They won their first state title thanks to a really hot start to the game. They built an early 6-2 lead. Braxton Bell and Jamison Meyer each had 2 goals early on, so they felt pretty good there. And then going into the break, obviously Westminster gets back into the game, but going into the break, they held a 10-3 advantage. All the momentum going into halftime. High-octane offense was winning their face-offs, getting to different parts of the zones, and really making Westminster pay. And the third quarter was just a completely different run. Westminster got back in the game. They outscored Wesleyan 5-1 during that period. So They had probably a great discussion at halftime to get back into the game. Connor Hodgson led the way with 3 goals for them during that stretch, and they head to the fourth. They only trailed 11-8. Westminster was able to cut the deficit twice in the fourth, but Sam Kaluzzi came up big with the Wolves when they needed that breathing room. He each netted a goal twice in that fourth quarter, kind of being able to kind of slow down the tide that was starting to build for Westminster in that one. So special shout out to them. And then for Westminster, Mason Thice led the way, had 4 goals, and Hodgson had 3. So a really entertaining game between those two. And then 7A, obviously you had the Buford boys and the Lambert boys as well. So it was a really exciting game between these two. So it just seemed like whenever Lambert had a lead, like Buford was just right back there. They built an early 5-1 lead. Cole Greenfield hitting 2 goals early on, and then before you know it, Buford gets back into the game with a run of their own. So, key stretches of the game, Max Skiro was big for the Longhorns. He did his thing as well. And what's interesting enough, I wouldn't say this season's a failure for Lambert because they've been in the state title game 4 consecutive years. So that's not easy to do. But last few years, lost to West Forsyth. They won their first ever title. Buford won their first ever title this past year. So just coming down to the stretch, I thought Lambert was going to pull it out. They were up 13-12 before they got a game-tying goal. I think it was only like about 50 seconds left in the game before Buford had tied it up. They go into overtime. And then next thing you know, they get a critical game-winning goal in the overtime period. For Buford ended up winning it all. So great game between both teams. The game in the regular season was 15-13 Lambert. So they battled it out in that one. And speaking of the Wolves, they tied the game with 58.5 seconds, and that was Drew Maloney with a goal to force overtime in that one. So it was a really exciting game between those two. Came down to the wire. 2 phenomenal teams and programs, and Buford wins their first ever title. So really enjoyed that one there. And then obviously 5A, 6A, we know Roswell came out on top. They ended up winning, playing at a high-end level. 9-7. They built an early lead, but Centennial kept coming. And then, third quarter, they were able to kind of, take full control of the game. Obviously, we talked about what they did with their head coach, Ezra Moore. Obviously, Kyle O'Neal was big. Their face-off guy was big. He netted 3 goals in that game. So it was a phenomenal finish for them, going back-to-back. Like I told him when he came on, I thought the only team that could probably give them a little bit of a run was Alatoona, and they faced them early on, got the win in the quarterfinals, and I thought from that point, felt pretty good about Roswell winning it all. So a credible season for them, and obviously you can see how much it meant to their head coach. So that's the latest in lacrosse. That's my thoughts to the state championship. Obviously some great players coming back next year, another phenomenal season, and some really entertaining state championships. We talked about on the girls' side on Tuesday on my show. Going back and forth, Cambridge winning their first ever title, ending Blessed Trinity's 4-peat. Milton is continuing to have the dominance while facing adversity and a plethora of injuries. And then obviously, Wesleyan winning their first ever one with Eva Garbadian coming up big and their team and what she had to do to build that program to where it is today. So super cool stories, and the course always fun to cover. So that is the latest there. We're going to take one more quick short break. Thank our sponsors. Be back on the other side.
What you doing?
Hey, just finishing this claim to get Dave back on the road.
Nice. I wonder what Dave's doing.
You do your thing. We've got you covered.
Hey, is the power off on this?
I don't know. Just take it off.
Safety violation. Unsafe work conditions.
In the construction trades unions, safety is our highest priority, and we train you to recognize and speak out on unsafe working conditions so that everyone arrives and goes home safely. Learn about careers in construction at GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com.
All right, guys, welcome back. So, with the third segment of the show to kind of close this out, you guys know one of my favorite segments, my top 10 headlines for the weekend. Lots to discuss, obviously, in this segment. And we're going to start with, we actually have the photo loaded, and that's going to be Westminster boys football just announced their schedule for this upcoming season. So, can't wait to get into that. They're going to be in an intriguing region. Last year had a pretty good year. We'll talk about that real quick as Craig loads it. They were 8-4, went 4-1. In their region, finished third this past year. Before, losing to Stockbridge. Obviously, you know how great of a season they had. They went all the way to the state championship, losing to them 28-24 in a very close contest between those two teams. So their schedule is here, and as you guys can see, they released it on their Westminster WCAT. So kind of how it looks. They're going to start with North Atlanta. Obviously, in scrimmage, that's a pretty good team to kind of keep your eye on. Obviously, they probably don't have as much buzz as they had last year, but still going to have some key pieces coming back. Chase Linton, obviously the quarterback Ian Reynolds, got some good skill positions from what I've been hearing. Hebron Christian, they're going to be in the Corky Kell Dave Hunter Classic this year, so there'll be another team to keep an eye on, and they'll be playing them early. Looks like 7 p.m. on August 9th. Let's see when that actually is. That is going to be on a Friday, so that might be something good to check out as well. And then they're going to open the season against Lovett. So they actually played Lovett last year, their first game of the season, and they handled business. They beat them 41-8. So that'll be another great game. Then they play Pace. Interesting to see how Pace kind of replaces some of their best players. Obviously, no Jordan Burns anymore. He's at Tennessee. No more Heaven Brown Schuler. He's at Clemson. So interesting to see those next pieces for that program and what they're going to have coming in. And then Calhoun, I think, is a really intriguing game. Obviously, they're going to lose a couple pieces, but, Caden Williams, obviously, they had a great tight end. They got some good pieces on the offensive line. So that'll be another entertaining matchup. That'll be at home. So I think they did really good getting that matchup against Calhoun. Then they're going to play GAC. I can't wait to see what GAC does this year. Really good team last year. Obviously, had them on TV when they played up against Kell. That was kind of the region championship. Kell ended up winning that region title. But they're not going to have Jack Stanton anymore. They're not going to have Gio Tiberia anymore. They're not going to have Xavier King anymore. But Gabe Daniels is going to stand into the forefront. I heard they got some nice pieces, nice young pieces on the defensive front. But they're going to have some new playmakers this upcoming season. So that'll be interesting to watch. And then Gilmer County. Obviously, they got that star linebacker. That's Douglas Callahan defensively for them. So they're going to play them, looks like, on the road. So that'll be another intriguing matchup. Really good team. And then we've been talking about it. I don't think Craig has had their coach on yet for Benedictine, but we know how phenomenal. I mean, he's had them on so many times on his shows. But September 20th, playing up against them, and just want to see what they have. I know they got this kid I was talking about probably a couple months ago that's been blowing up, obviously, recruiting, and that was their sophomore receiver that had a phenomenal year. But I want to see who's going to be their quarterback. What are they going to look like at skill positions this upcoming year? How will they look defensively? But year in, year out, they're good. They gave us a really good game a few years back in the state title game. I remember they having a big defensive stop, so that'll be interesting. And then you get into the kind of the region. And the region, I think, is going to be a little intriguing. It's kind of slept on, but Cambridge, that's going to be another good one. Going up against them, me and Craig, we talked about on Underrated and Overlooked. Obviously, with them having new head coach Tyler Jones, the offensive guru in mind that he is, with those weapons that he's going to have that a lot of people don't know about, but if you go visit their program, you will. So I can't wait to see what he does with that group. And then Kell, kind of coming off, obviously, I think it was a good season, but maybe a little disappointing for them, just, having that home field, and losing in the first round with how talented they were at a lot of different positions. But they got a two-headed monster, man. They're going to be tough to stop. We had their running back coach on, Jonathan Dwyer, a few months ago. But Contarius Mooney-Gibson, obviously, and then Tyree Green, who plays a little bit of running back and safety. So can't wait to see how they're going to look. Actually, I think we'll have Hayden will be in attendance today for their spring game against McEachern. Almost forgot about that. So Hayden will have a good look. So we'll probably ask him that on the show this upcoming Tuesday to see what he thought about that game as well. And then Blessed Trinity, actually a team I believe, if I'm wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, Greg, I think you're high on Blessed Trinity. So be interesting to see. I just want them to, and me and Craig have been talking about it off air, but I want to see them open up the offense for Brooks Goodman. Like, I think he's a quarterback that can sling it. Then they got so many weapons, right? They got, obviously, Zion McKenzie out of the slot, right? He's been gaining some traction in recruiting. Bryce Lewis, who was formerly Arizona commit, he is opening back up his recruiting, 6'6", 200-plus pounds, tough cover. You know what I'm saying? They obviously got David Jacobs, top guy in the 2027 class. When those rankings come out, he'll probably be right up at the list, off the edge. You know, I want to see what he's able to do also this upcoming season. So, Blessed Trinity has a good coach and Coach Ed Dudley. They got some good pieces in place. Just want to see him open up that offense and trust, you know, the quarterback a little bit more. But that's another intriguing game. And then Centennial. Obviously, I think the quarterback is good, underrated guy, but starting to get some more buzz from himself. Talked to my sources, obviously, with him, and said he's grown as well. So, just be interesting to see if they surround him with the right pieces. His last year, obviously, I know he got multiple programs after him. Obviously, that's Hunter Campbell, but be interesting to see if they can surround him with the weapons in order to be successful this year. I think that's the biggest thing. But great coach and Adam Miller just putting it all together. So I think the region's interesting. Obviously, open the season with some great opponents. Lubbock, Pace, Calhoun. We just went through all of them. But I think that region is going to be intriguing to see who gets that top 4 spot, because all those teams could be playoff teams. Cambridge could, Kell could, Blessed Trinity. But who will get that 4th spot, maybe between Centennial, Westminster, and some of those region foes? I think it's intriguing.
Westminster has never played Cambridge or Kell.
Good point out by Craig. So apparently they have never played Cambridge or Kell. Westminster hasn't. So getting acclimated here pretty early. So appreciate you, Craig, pointing that out as well and pulling up that graphic. So that is number 1. At number 2, we'll keep rolling. So got to celebrate Riverwood Golf. I thought they had an incredible season this past year, so I wanted to highlight, obviously, their program. So a few highlights. They had 16 players that were awarded varsity letters this year, including 9 first-time letter winners. Connor Negro was recognized as JV Golfer of the Year. Frederick Donahue was the most improved player, and then Josh Mitchell was named Golfer of the Year. Kyron Proctor received Raider Award for his team leadership and overall contributions to the team over the past 4 years. And the highlight of the year was 8 days in March. The team finished 2nd in 2 tournaments and 1st in Oconee County Invitational. So great run for them, and some great players as well. So that's number 2, highlighting Riverwood Boys program. Got a big event this weekend coming up. This will be On the Radar Hoops. If you guys don't know, obviously, just put you guys up on game. A couple of the big events in the summer. Obviously, you know about EYBL, 3SSB. But some of the big events that are not in that threshold is On the Radar Hoops, and obviously Rise Hoops is another big one as well. Southern Hoop Showcase, who we talked about as well. Those are some of the major ones, event makers. And On the Radar does a really great job of just, you know, exposing some of the kids in the basketball realm, putting on these type of events and letting them go up against elite competition from all over, not just Adidas, Nike, Puma, or Under Armour, but from all over, and pairing them to go up against each other. But their event is going to be the Sweet 16, On the Radar Hoops Sweet 16, and it's going to be May 17th through the 19th in Atlanta. Obviously, you're going to have national media there, major coaches and things like that. But that would be this weekend, May 17th through the 19th as well. Obviously, this is a big weekend for football as it is spring. But if you are into hoops, that would be this weekend. I think when I asked the guy, he said it's potentially going to be at Marietta at next play. But nothing was confirmed there when I talked to him earlier in the week. But that is a big scrimmage or big event there. And then as far as the scrimmages go, as the number 4, might need to be a program we need to get on our shows too. And that's Schley County. They're going to have their scrimmage actually tonight at 6 p.m. in about 3 hours from now. The inter-squad scrimmage going on at their stadium, Wildcat Stadium in Ellaville, Georgia. Basically, the slogan says, "Bring a case of water or Powerade Gatorade as your price of admission. Just place them under the football trailer behind the field house before you enter the stadium." So, you know, can't wait to see the program. We know how many great players they have. Obviously, Zayden Walker, who just announced, I think, his top 4 programs as well. We'll be coming to a decision here pretty soon. But year in, year out, Schley County is good. They're either always in the semifinals, Final Four, or they get into the state final. So they're a phenomenal program, and they're going to have their squad scrimmage today. All right, as well. So now at number 5, we got to talk about my impression. So if you guys didn't know, I did go to Milton yesterday. I was along with Max, trying to give him a little bit of just experience and kind of seeing how the ropes of things and how it goes. So my impression. So I have an article coming out as well on this. Let me see if it's been posted yet, actually. Okay, it is posted. So here's my thoughts. I think Milton is a great program, right? And I want to first give credit to, obviously, the coaching staff, Josh Carletta, obviously their AD, Alicia Silvestri, the coach Sly, Coach Vinny Silvestri as well, Coach Reeves, obviously. I think they have a good culture in place at that program, and I think they are always loaded with talent, right? When you look at Luke Nickel, you look at C.J. Wiley, Ethan Barber, Ryan G., Tristan Payne, T.J. Lester, Amari Anderson, young guys coming up, Jordan Carrasquillo, Grant Hovland, and things like that. Defensively, I'll talk about those real quick. Obviously, Dylan Lewis, Tyler Redmond, the linebacking core of Tristan Lester, I should say, A.J. Benton, Hayden Tumanier, who doesn't get enough love, should get way more love than what he gets. And the defensive line-wise with Caleb Bell, and I think a guy that's going to be coming up big, Billy Woevoda, who's ready for his spot and ready to do it. My only concern, and I said this in my article, when you have a team that has a lot of buzz around it and everyone's talking you up, there's a lot of hype, and everybody's putting you as a clear-cut favorite to win it all, sometimes complacency can seek in. And I'm not saying, because I know Coach Reeves is going to hold them to a high standard, and I know that coaching staff will. But it's really going to be on the players, if I had to say. And I'm not calling anybody out. Again, I think it's a great program, but they're going to get every team's best shot, and I think Coach did a good job of making that non-region schedule tough, playing obviously, in American Heritage, playing against them, possibly might see the game, broadcasted on a major network, obviously starting the season with Buford. So I think he did a really good job of doing that. And then the region schedule with Gainesville, Roswell, and things like that. But like I said, that complacency can seek in. So he's returning 17 of 22 players from last year's team. So that definitely blows in your favor. But when you keep hearing you're the best and nobody can beat you, that can kind of sometimes, as a player, I used to play, sports, can kind of seek in a little bit. So I know it's going to be probably not the easiest coaching job because these players are going to think, not all of them, but hey, we can win it all again, which it's not a bad thing to think of. But the only thing I think can hold this team back is that complacency. There's nothing else. Every day you got, like as Coach said, every day you got to strap it on. They're too talented. You will get exposed, on the team. C.J. Wilder, as we mentioned, all of them. So if you're not coming and giving 100% effort every day at practice, then why do it? There's no point. And you're going to get Gainesville's best shot when you play them. You're going to get Buford's best shot when you play them. Teams are going to come for you. They're going to be like, oh, you're Milton. Like, okay, we know you're the top team. Yeah, we want to beat you and have those bragging rights. So I think that's the only thing that's stopping them. That's it. It's not talent. It's not coaching. It's not really anything stopping them. Only thing that's going to stop Milton this year is Milton. And I say that respectfully. Don't say that as disrespect to any of the other teams. I think the other teams are going to be great. It's going to be competitive. Langston Hughes is going to be another good team. I love what I saw from them. Gainesville is going to be a great team. I love what I saw from them. Not counting out any 5A school. But when you have the talent that Milton has, it's kind of you stand in front of yourself because teams are hungry, and sometimes that hunger is not the same when you win one, and I think we talk about it all the time. What makes Patrick Mahomes great? He's hungry, always. Like he's at 3, he still wants to be better. So they're going to have that mindset if they want to win it again this year, in my humble opinion. But I think overall, great program, great coaching, but it's going to be on the players. That's my thoughts on Milton. We'll go to number 6. And that is obviously major spring games got moved up. So I had it in obviously my excuse me, my intro of the show today. And that is Grayson's having their squad scrimmage. That got moved up. So they're going to play inter-squad scrimmage today at 6. So that'll be fun to see. Best on best. Again, I talked about them. Some of those young guys they got at all positions. That defense is going to be fast, man. I'm telling you. They're going to be on another level. So they're going to play. And then Jonesboro Lovejoy also got moved up to today on Thursday as well. So those are the major ones I've seen that got moved up. Obviously, some games will be tomorrow. Walden plays East Paulding tonight. So that'll be another pretty good game as well. I know we have, I think, one person in here, Will, is going to be going to check that game out. I think it's last call on air before he graduates. So, excuse me, super exciting time as well. But those are the ones that got moved up. Just wanted to give an update on that and the latest around those. But number 7, looks like the Polynesian Bowl really likes Georgia players. It got another one. Obviously, we talked about some of the ones that got in. Zealous Hicks was one that got invited. But another Georgia player now is Xavier Griffin. He recently got an invite from the Polynesian Bowl to be selected to play in the event. Excuse me. So, obviously, they love the state of Georgia. and they've been inviting him pretty crazily. Obviously, he's the number one linebacker, number one player, I should say, in the state of Georgia, according to 247 Sports. So another great honor for him, excuse me, and to be selected as an all-star to play in this event. So a special shout out to him there, and I can't wait to see what he does this season. As I said, I'll talk to him, chills it up a little bit. Looks like he has pretty good size, and it's kind of crazy, man. The crazy thing about him, he just started playing outside linebacker edge. Like, he came in before last year and was a receiver. So the fact that he's already the top linebacker just one season in says a lot about just him growing and being able to take the coaching the right way and being able to apply it and taking it seriously. I mean, to be able to make that jump that fast, that says a lot. So shout out to him, man, and being able to take that on and obviously seeing the fruits of his labor now. All right, so at number 8, USA Lacrosse is going to be having a major regional tryout here, right here in Georgia, in Atlanta. Will be at Franklin Gateway SE, Marietta, Georgia. Zip is 30067. It's going to be Sunday, June 2nd from 4 to 7 p.m. So I think that's great. And the reason I mentioned that, obviously, we talked about lacrosse a little bit earlier, but so many great players from lacrosse are coming here from the state of Georgia, going on to play at D1 programs. You know, look at the all-state list. Look at some of the guys from last year that went on to play at D1 programs. So I would say Georgia's getting up there as far as a talent-rich state in lacrosse as far as players. So for them to have their tryout here, USA Lacrosse, I think says a lot. It says a lot about the talent that's here in the state of Georgia. So they're going to have a regional tryout for guys to see who makes the roster for USA Lacrosse. Doesn't get much bigger than that. So I wanted to bring that up on the show today. Will be June 2nd, 4 to 7 p.m. at the Franklin Gateway Center. All right, number 9, as you guys know, I probably should have put the tweet in there so we could have reacted to it with that. But NCAA, obviously, college football is going to be officially released July 19th. That was broke a little bit earlier today. They released the cover officially, so it'll be Donovan Edwards, Quinn Ewers, and then obviously Travis Hunter will be on the cover. A highly, highly anticipated game. I know they're going to sell a lot of copies as well, but that was announced today. I know some are disappointed, especially here in the office. I know they were disappointed in the I already see heads shaking their head. Yeah, so a lot of people were disappointed that we didn't get to see the trailer today, which does kind of suck. But the trailer is supposed to come out tomorrow. But been seeing some behind the scenes footage by Hayes Fawcett as well that got it looks like from obviously Travis Hunter's Instagram page. But I think a lot of people are excited, man. And I hate to tell the guys that got girlfriends and things like that. I remember that one era when it was like guys were never off the game, we're just playing Fortnite. I think you're going to see the same thing. Like honestly, I think that's just what it's going to be. Like dudes are not getting off the game this summer. Like, just forget about it. Like, wanting attention, like, it's just not going to happen. I mean, game like this, it hasn't came out in over, 10, 11 plus years, and then now it's back July 19th. Yeah, guys are going to get off the game. I do think it is cool, however, how EA Sports actually bundled this. So obviously some people are going to pay for the deluxe edition, which is $150. Some people aren't. They're going to just get the regular standard edition. But I do think it's cool that you're able to get both. You can get NCAA 2025, and you can get Madden as well. What they should do, I don't know the full details, but what they should do is link it where if you have a great player that's playing in college, he can go to the pros after 2 to 3 years. I think that would be excellent. You know, I think Max agrees with me. Like, that should be the links between those two since you're linking it with the bundle. That only makes sense. But hopefully EA Sports knows that. But I think that would definitely make the game even more sicker to be able to load your player, your phenomenal college player, and be able to put him on Madden. I think that would be great. So we are excited. We can't wait. It will be phenomenal to see, and a game that a lot of people are getting. And what's so cool? PlayStation, Xbox, they're all going to make money from it because you're going to have people that have the old systems getting the new systems just to play this game. So it's a genius move, genius marketing move, and a lot of people can't wait to put the sticks on. And obviously, I think Travis said that he's trying to make it legendary as well and do a legendary stream. I think partner with EA as well when a game comes out. Obviously, he's a big gamer, so super cool. I think it's going to be a great time, and a lot of people are going to be on this game. So can't wait for that. The release will be tomorrow, obviously, and then the game will come out July 19th. So I'm going to have the pre-order here pretty soon. But last but not least, at number 10 to close out the show, I got to get my thoughts on the top NFL matchups of the upcoming season. Obviously, I've been telling people in the office, I think that the NFL fumbled, excuse me, or some of the networks with the Bengals-Eagles game. I think that should have been a primetime game in my humble opinion. Sunday night football, Monday night football, Thursday night football. Those are two phenomenal teams, two great quarterbacks, uberly talented. So I would love to see those two play. But a great game, I think, is the Falcons and Eagles. Week 2, Monday night. Woof, that game right there is going to be something special. Them going up to Philadelphia to play them. Can't wait to see that. Kirk going back up there, obviously playing with a new regime. What will Philly look like in the season? I think that's going to be a fireworks type of matchup. Then Minnesota versus Atlanta. I think another really good matchup as well between those two teams, going up at it. And then Kirk returns back to Minnesota, where he had a pretty good career and earned, obviously, his next contract. And can't wait to see him go up against that new era in Minnesota with J.J. McCarthy now being that starter. Haven't heard too much about Justin Jefferson, but I think that'll be interesting to see those two go at it and him returning home. Then you have Ravens-Chargers. Last year or a couple years ago, they gave us a really, really great game between those two teams. So can't wait to see how that kind of comes out, how the game looks between those two foes as well. I'm sure it'll be a barn burner, a really fun one. And then Lions-Cowboys. Y'all remember the ending of that game? That was just so intriguing. Like, he had he was able to do the 2-point conversion 3 times. Like, everybody was saying, like, just kick the extra point, kick the PAT. But definitely some drama at the end. Really ended up not making a really difference in the grand scheme of things. But those two going back at it against each other, I think, is interesting as well. And then the last two, Bills at Texans, I think will be another intriguing one. Josh Allen, C.J. Stroud, one of the top quarterbacks, obviously, in the NFL, going up against Josh Allen and the Bills. I think that would be intriguing as well. And then last but not least, I think the Bengals and the Chargers and the Bengals and the Chiefs. Can't wait for those two matchups. I think that popcorn better be ready for Bengals and Chargers. I think that's week 11, coming off 3 games in 11 days during that stretch. So that'll be a really good one between those two. Justin Herbert, new era, obviously, with Jim Harbaugh, will be a lot of fun. And then, obviously, Bengals, Chiefs. Nobody wants to admit it, but Mahomes knows, Burrow knows, Travis Kelce knows, Jamar Chase knows. The best rivalry in the NFL. I don't care what anybody says. It really is. Year in, year out, they play, and they play meaningful football. And it doesn't just go one way. It's not Mahomes dominating like how he dominates the Bills. It's not Mahomes dominating like how he dominates the Ravens. It's Cincinnati getting, multiple. Then the Chiefs get one. Then the Chiefs get another one. Then Cincinnati gets more. So, it's back and forth. That's what makes a great rivalry. So, can't wait for that. But that's going to do it for today's show. Keeping it real with Najeh Wilkins. Appreciate you guys tuning in for today. That's all I got. And Craig's going to have Cedartown head coach Jamie Abrams on. That'll be a great interview. So he's going to ask a lot about Tay Harris and some of those young guys they got out there, and a team with so many aspirations. So tune in tomorrow. Drive for Jesus a state title at noon Eastern. That's all I got. We'll see you guys soon. Peace.